Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon and Hector, and we're going to have a look at how managers structure their team for the new season commencing 2021-22. We hope that you'll stay tuned. Gentlemen, you're very welcome back here. I suppose what we're going to have a look at here today is the midfielders. We've looked at the defenders and we've had a look at the goalkeepers. Is that right? Yes, that's right. We're going to have a look and analyse what we need in a defender. Hector?
Yeah, I agree with him, and I think, yes, we have to have a look and see how the midfielder or what their role is and how you get the midfielder in here.
And before we go any further, we've got breaking news, listeners. The Fantasy Football Premier League is actually starting on Friday, the 13th of August, 2021. We don't have much time, do we, gentlemen? No, we don't have much time. I think you're going to put up some links if people want to join. And I also believe that you're talking about getting an email address if some of our people want to email with any comments, or any advice, tips, anything in general. Yeah, okay, yes, we'll be sorting that out probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Don't worry, listeners, I'll have the code up. So if a listener out there wants to join the Arkham Avengers Fantasy Football Premier League as such for this year, I'll have the details up there. You don't have to worry about that. Now, okay. Eamon, what do we need regarding the midfielders? Okay, right. When you're making your purchase, you've got your 100 million. They haven't changed it. It's 100 million. And I'm going to just put this out here. The 100 million really won't go very far. And listener is going to see and understand a bit more of that as we talk through this show. But when you're initially selecting your team, you're going to have 5 midfielders. That doesn't mean you're going to play 5 midfielders. It just means you're going to have to purchase 5. Okay, yeah. So you buy 5, but you don't have to play 5. No, you don't. I mean, for example, you could have 4 defenders, you could have 4 midfielders and 2 forwards. And of course, don't forget, you have your goalkeeper.
Yes, even don't forget goalkeeper.
No, don't worry, Hector. I won't be forgetting about the goalkeeper. You also could have, a formation of 3 defenders. You might have your 5 midfielders in there then, and 2 forwards. Or you could opt for 3 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 3 forwards.
And your goalkeeper, of course, is there all.
Yeah, look, the goalkeeper is a given. You need to have the goalkeeper. But I'm just explaining to the listener, that's the sort of formation that you could have. Okay. And in general, would you say like you're going to have 4 midfielders? Generally, yeah, you would probably be opting to have 4 midfielders. Hector, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with what I even say. I think sometimes it depends on your team. It depends on whether you have injuries, whether you have suspensions. Probably also depend on the players you pick. Are they good player? And that is what I will be looking at. And I'm interested to hear what Eamon want to say about this, because I have 1 or 2 things myself to say.
Okay, we will come to that in a few moments. Eamon, you're going to start us off on who would have the top 5 midfielders in the 2020-21 season. Right, okay. Well, our first guy is a chap called Bruno Fernandes, and he plays for Man United. And he's born in Portugal. Now, his current price tag is 12 million. And he had a total of 224 points in the 2020-21 season. And in the 2019-2020 season, he had 117. Now, my next guy at number 2 is a chap called Mohamed Salah, who plays for Liverpool. And this guy's born in Egypt. He has a price tag of 12.5 million. He got a total tally of 231 points in the 2020-21 season, and in the 2019-2020 season, he had 233 points. In at number 3 is a chap called Hong Myung Song. He plays for Spurs, better known as Son. We call him the Sonny Son. And he's born in South Korea. And he has a price tag of 10 million. He managed to get 228 points in the 2020-21 season. And in the 2019-2020 season, he had 169 points. The next guy at number 4 is Sadio Mane, and he plays for Liverpool. He was born in Senegal. He's a price tag of 12 million. He had a total tally points of 176 in the 2020-21 season, and in the 2019-2020 season, he had 221 points. And finally, number 5 is Marcus Rashford, and he plays for Man United. He's born in the United Kingdom, and this guy's price tag is 9.5 million. He had a total tally of 174 points in the 2020-21 season. And in the 2019-21 season, he had 177. Okay. I'm interested in this point here, Eamon. They're very pricey. They certainly are. And that's the price they are at the moment, and players' prices will fluctuate. If there's one of these guys, and a lot of teams are buying him, chances are his price will go up. Oh, would you be saying, I want to get in there first and get him? Well, you might want to do that, but I'm going to put this out here, and Hector might agree with me on this. The European Championships are currently ongoing, and some of these guys are playing. And if they get an injury, you won't be selecting them. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's true. So one of these guys could be playing. Well, I take it what did you call him? The Sonny Son. If he's from South Korea, he's hardly playing. No, he won't be playing in it there. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think Mo Salah is actually doing any football yet. But Fernandes will be there, and Marcus Rashford. And they could get a serious injury. And if you've selected them, now, of course, let me also point out that if you decide after this show to set up your team, you can change it. You're not going to be penalised. You can change it right up to the commencement of the match there. All right, okay. So as you're saying, one of these guys get injured, you could turn around and say, well, look, he'll have to go. Exactly. Hector, anything to comment on that?
Yes, well, I think that Eamon, he try and confuse the listeners.
What? Sorry.
Yeah, he try and confuse them. I think, you go and you pick your team now, or in the next couple of weeks, because this is what I say. Some of the clubs will be bringing in players, and they will be getting rid of players. So this guy, say like Fernandes, maybe some big team, Barcelona come in for him, or Juventus, or Inter Milan, or Paris Saint-Germain, and the next thing, he's gone. He is gone. If he goes, you then be able to go and change your team around there. But you don't have to be worrying at the moment. What you want to do is have a look, explore, and listen to us. We will guide you through it. And, that's it. Don't be worrying. And if these guys get injured, you can change it before the football season. I just said that. What are you going on about? I'm saying you're trying to confuse our listeners. Just listen to us. There's nothing else to it. Don't worry about it. We will be putting the team, we'll be talking about who we think will be a good team. Yes? Well, I suppose we could talk about that at some point. But I think, Hector, you're right. I don't know if Eamon is actually trying to confuse the list. I think he's trying to point out that, and if I'm right with this, Eamon, that you're just trying to say that some guys can get injured. And you'll have to factor that in. Is that it? That's it, exactly. And I don't know what Hector is on, but he's not on the sort of stuff that I'm on. Okay. Right. But as I was saying there, some of these guys are quite pricey.
Yes, they are pricey and they will fluctuate. This is something that managers are also going to have to factor in. Like, if you're buying defenders and they're priced between, say, 5.5 and 7.5 million, you're not going to have a lot of money for your midfield. And you've also got forwards to buy. So you've got to balance the team. Okay. Can we move on and talk about midfielders who've had a clean sheet in the last season? And Hector, you're going to explain, of course, what we're talking about.
Yes, clean sheet, of course, is, no goals scored. And these are midfielders who have played and no goals been scored. So they have played well during these matches. Okay, and the first guy is a fella called John McGinn, and he plays for Aston Villa. He's currently worth 6 million, and he had 14 clean sheets. So that's 14 matches that he played and no goals were scored against Aston Villa, that is. Next guy is Jorge Luis Frello Fejolo, and he plays for Chelsea, and he costs 6 million, and he also had 14 clean sheets. So again, he playing, no one scored against Chelsea for 14 matches when this guy be on. In at number 3 is another Chelsea player, and it's Mason Mount, and he would cost you 7.5 million, and he had 14 clean sheets also. The guy number 4 is Raheem Sterling, and he plays for Man City. He'll cost you 11 million, and he had 14 clean sheets also. And then the 5th chap is Bruno Fernandes from Man United, and as Eamon said, he cost you 12 million, and he had 13 clean sheets.
That's those players now. If I could put this out here, they're a little bit more value for money. Like you said, that guy McGinn is 6 million, and the two lands from Chelsea are what, 6 and
7.5 million. Mason Mount.
Okay, so that's a bit better than this 12.5, 10 million business and that Eamon was rattling on about. Yes, you'll get these guys, but you need probably a balance of an expensive player, an average player. What's an average player? Well, I suppose, I don't want to, put players down here, but I suppose if you're talking about somebody who's worth, 5 or 6 million, he would be possibly, he's not an expensive player. He may turn out to be quite an extraordinary player, but perhaps you're thinking he could be a solid guy. He might get me a result. Okay, all right. Can we move next and maybe have a look to see what about midfielders who actually score goals? Have we got those? We certainly have. On top of the pops here is Mohamed Salah.
Sorry, you say top of the pops and you're talking about Salah.
No, I'm not. No. Let me start again. It's Mohamed Salah, Liverpool. We said he cost 12.5 million. He got 22 goals. Bruno Fernandes is the next guy for Man United, and he costs 12 million. He got 18 goals. Sonny Son from Spurs, he's 10 million, 17 goals.
Eamon, I think you need a drink of water, Eamon.
I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. A chap called Ilkay Gundogan from Man City, who costs currently 7.5 million, managed 13 goals. And then finally, Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace, who cost you 7 million, and he scored 11 goals. Oh, very good. Eamon, do you want to take a drink of that? Perfectly fine, thank you. All right. What did you have for dinner? Salad?
Very good. I like that bit, yes.
Okay, let's concentrate back here. Okay, so again, they're quite pricey again there, That guy Salah, Fernandes, the Sonny Son, the 12 and a half, 12, 10, that's a lot of money, lads. Would a manager be able to afford the three of those?
Well, you could afford them, yes. But you then will have to restrict how much money you pay out for maybe defenders. And maybe you might have to sacrifice money for a forward.
Yeah, tough. This sounds very tough, so it does. Certainly not straightforward, lads.
No, not very straightforward at all.
Okay. We'll have a look probably at midfielders who've assisted. And Eamon, as you said, the assist is where the midfielder has the ball, he passes it to somebody who scores a goal. Exactly. That is it exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. And we have Bruno Fernandes, a guy from Man United, had 14 assists. Now, the next guy is somebody called Jack Grealish, who plays for Aston Villa, and he is worth 8 million, and he had 12 assists. The next guy is Kevin De Bruyne, and he's from Man City, and he's worth 12 million, and he had 12 assists. Sadio Mane from Liverpool, who's worth 12 million, had 11 assists. And then we had Marcus Rashford, Man United. As I said before, he's currently priced at 9.5 million, and he had 11 assists. Again, a lot of big money to be spent there. The guy Jack Grealish there, he's the most reasonable price there. Does he feature anywhere else? Not really too much there. He had an injury during the season, and Aston Villa felt the loss there. He is a good playmaker, and he's worth a punt if you're putting a team together. And chances are he could move. There is a lot of interest in this guy, and the transfer market will see some players move around, some people out and some people in. All right. Now, Eamon, you mentioned about defenders who had creativity. Do we have any midfielders who might be creative? Yeah, of course, yeah. Bruno Fernandes. He has a lot of creativity. Mason Mount actually is a good player, and he's from Chelsea. He would be another guy. Kevin De Bruyne from Man City is an exceptional player, and he's really worth taking a look at there. I suppose the next guy I'd go for would be somebody from Brighton and Hove Albion, Pascal Grosch. And then, look, fifth guy would have to be the Sonny Son from Spurs. He's really worth it. I wouldn't, if I was putting a team together, if he's available, I would have him in my team. Right, okay. Hector. What about midfielders who have form? Who are, maybe, you bought them in. Are they going to do any good? All right, yes, I had a look at this. And this is very interesting because that number one is Stuart Dallas from Leeds. Now, do he ring any bell for you? Not particularly. Hold on a moment. We spoke about him last week, didn't we? Yeah, he was a defender. He is now listed as a midfielder. All right, okay. And why is that? It's because, he performs so well when he in midfielder. Maybe now they decide, hey, he's in a better spot. Don't have him in defense. Have him in midfield. And he's worth 5.5 million. He is very reasonable, I think. Okay, right, okay. Next. A fellow called Jack Harrison from Man City. Probably didn't play as much. He probably could have played. But he's worth 6 million. He's still available. Worth looking at. And then I think, Thomas Sosek. He's from West Ham. He is a good player. He's worth 6 million. The guy I'd probably be thinking about next is James Ward-Prowse, and he is from Southampton. And he's worth around 6.5 million. And then, of course, as Eamon would say, a player with form, the Sonny Son. All right. This guy's Son is cropping up all over the place. Pretty much so. He a good player. I like him. He creative. He score goal. He worth it. I think, as Eamon say, yeah, he a good player to have. Okay. What about the lads then, with that we have to look out for? The fella, Jack the lad on the pitch who's getting cards. Who have we got? Right, okay. I suppose we've got a guy, John, strangely enough, yellow cards, John McGinn. All right, our fella with the clean sheets. Yes, he had 11 yellow cards. Next guy is Conor Gallagher for Chelsea, who managed to get himself 11. And then we have Calvin Phillips, who plays for Leeds. He got himself 10 cards. All right, well, that's interesting. So, yeah, the guy with the clean sheets is picking up a scatter of yellow cards. Well, now, isn't that something? Yeah, well, that's how it goes. What about the the real Jack the Lad, the Gurrier, who's out there getting red cards. Oh yeah, right, okay. Well, we've got Granit Xhaka from Arsenal. Huh? Who? Yeah, you won't heard too much about this guy, but he got one red card. He's joined by his old buddy and old pal, Nicolas Pepe, and he plays for Arsenal as well. He got a red card. And then probably rounding off there is Douglas Luiz Suarez de Polo, and he plays for Aston Villa, and he got one red card. I don't think I've heard of any mention of these guys before. Well, listen, that could be a good thing if you haven't heard them. Okay. So, when you're looking at your defenders, lads, what is it that you're going to look at and go for? And I asked this last week, and I don't actually think I got an answer. Is there a directory for these players? Well, when you go in and you'll list it and you see, this is, I'm going to select my team. There is a panel on right side, and it's can say, so you can select all the goalkeepers, and you can see how good they are. You can select from the teams, and you can so you can say, I want to look at all the goalkeepers, I want to look at all the defenders, I want to look all at the midfielders and all the forwards, and they will show you all of them from different teams. And then if you want to go to a particular team, say you like Arsenal, or say you like Brighton and Hove Albion, or maybe you like Everton, you select that team and they show you their goalkeepers, their defenders and that. Ah, right, okay. So you can have a look at the players and see that there. Yes, and there is always a little eye for information, and that will tell you how good the players are. Okay. So, going back to my question here, you're putting your team together. What do you want to do? Because as you said before, you only have 100 million, and it's not going to go very far if you're buying these guys and they're 12 and a half, 10 million. I mean, you're going to have a scatter of money gone straight away on 3 players. Yeah, I think what you need to do is you need to decide what your tactic is. Are you going to be a defensive manager? Are you going to be a manager who wants their forwards to be striking, and that you're going to front load them with the top of the range forwards that we have? Are you going to fill your midfielders with heavy hitters and sacrifice other positions in the team then? Because as you said, like if you buy some of these guys and spend 35 million, it leaves 65 million for players. And let's remember, you have to buy 15 players altogether. So, if you buy 3 and they're all that, you've got 12 players and you've got to divvy up that money. It is tough, and you have to make that decision. I think myself personally, what I would be doing is I would try and mix it up. I'd probably try and have 1 or 2 good defenders, 1 or 2 seriously good midfielders, possibly a third one if I could, and then 1 or 2 seriously good forwards. The rest of the guys I'd probably be looking at for their price and their form. What were they providing last season? That's what I would look at. I'd balance it out. Hector, what would you do?
I think that I see where Eamon coming from. I think though, getting goals win match, and I think I would have a good forward line. I would at least have 2 really, really good forwards up front. And I think I would be looking to have 3 really, really good midfielders, and possibly 1, 2 seriously good defenders. The rest of the guys then I'd populate with guys who maybe are around the 5-6 million mark. And, maybe look for a player who may not have hit form last season for some reason, but had good form maybe a year ago or a previous year. They could be coming back, and that's what I'd be looking for.
Okay, so you're on a different tack. You're going to just have a couple of good players, and then the rest of them would be your average.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Okay, that's very interesting, lads. Right, I think that's about it to wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining us. We're talking forwards, is it next week? Yes, we're going to be on forwards next week, and pretty much then I think we've talked and discussed about the team. We'll touch base some smaller items there, housekeeping stuff. But yeah, it's forwards next week. All right. Well, Eamon, thanks for joining us, and I hope you've recovered after your dinner there and all is fine. Yeah, listen, don't worry about me. I'm perfectly fine, so I am. It's Hector here. Hector's trying to heckle me at times. He's trying to put me off my stride when I'm talking. I mean, you can see sometimes there, he's pulling these faces sometimes, and I do wonder why.
I do the fly buzzing around. I had to crosswalk it.
Yeah, but that's putting me off. When I'm in my stride and I'm talking here about, Mo Salah from Liverpool, I want to get the names out. I don't want to be having you waving there frantically. I may not knowing, there's something wrong here, something. Okay, all right, okay. That's enough of that for the moment. Gentlemen, as I said, thank you very much for joining us again here. It's a pleasure. And yes, very nice to be back here. I want to say, a shout out to... here we go again.
Please, I want to talk, I know I interrupt you when you...
I didn't interrupt you either, but I mean, shout out.
Okay. Who is it this time, Hector? Well, I want to give shout out again to our fans in Germany and in France, our fans in Ireland. We have lots of fans in America. I like that very much there. I also want to give big shout out, to all the people in Monaghan. There are lots not nice people there. There's people in Scots House. I also give a shout out to the people over in, they're a guy, I think you call Eamon Gallagher in England. I be Eamon. Big thumbs up to Eamon there. I also want to shout out, I hear the question here why his name is, he play on radio, Michael Cummins and Midwest Radio. Fair play to him. He play good music.
Midwest Radio? What? We've got to stop this. This really can't go on.
What do you mean it can't go on? I give shout out. They all like it, Oh, by the way, a big thumbs up to all the Portuguese and to the Spanish listening as well.
Okay, right. I think we'll stop it right here before it goes any further. I wish you would stop it. I mean, what is this? He's talking about Midwest Radio. Seriously. We're supposed to be a football show here. Now we're plugging this, that, and everything. I mean, Hector, the next thing you will be having commercials or something.
I know I'm nothing. I give shot.
Okay. Right, gentlemen. Thanks very much for joining me. And look forward to coming back next week. We're still hoping, and we plan to have Mick joining us in the next, I think probably next 2 weeks. He's joining us and he'll be talking. I can't wait for that. Right. And listeners, thank you very much for joining us on today's episode and tuning in and listening to us. We'll be back again next week with another episode. We hope you find this entertaining and enjoyable and informative, and that you may be thinking about putting a team together for this season. Take care, and we'll be back.